Let's welcome to the stage the Marketing and Advertising Director for Summerfest, Milwaukee World Festival, Sara McGuire.
Get on like a bicycle.
Sara, Marketing and Advertising Director, do a little bit of everything at Summerfest, oversee almost literally everything, it sounds like. Give us some scope on Summerfest, because we see it as an 11-day festival, but give us some raw numbers, guests, bands, just how big is big?
Sure, so yes, we're big. The event we put on is big. There's no doubt about it. However, I will say, being small businesses here in the audience, we're kind of a small business. A lot of people don't realize Milwaukee World Festival, Inc. is a not-for-profit. There's about 45 of us who work there year-round. So I'm sure, Kathleen, you've never heard this. It's like, what? That's a year-round job? I thought it was just 11 days. But yeah, so it's 11 days, typically the last week of June, first week of July. We brought in this year over 2,000 artists, if you can believe that. That's about 800 acts throughout those 11 days. We welcomed just under 800,000 people over those 11 days. And, you know, it's a party right on Milwaukee's lakefront. It's the one and only venue that is right along the lake. We're talking 75 acres. Mm-hmm. That's a big number. Big. And, you know, we've been going since 1968. So wow, it's pretty exciting.
And you keep on building new stages.
We do. Well, yes and no. We've built a couple new ones, but we keep refreshing the ones that we have.
Refreshing new stages. Yes.
They get facelifts, you know. We want them to look pretty. We're very proud of that, though. This last year, we welcomed a refreshed U-line stage at the northernmost end of the Summerfest grounds. And right now, we're in phase 2 of the amphitheater renovation. That truly is more than a facelift. Yeah. So we're very excited about that. It's totally privately funded. We're raising money for it, and using that money that we earned during Summerfest, thank you for buying your beers, is all going back into the grounds.
If we have to. It's for a good cause, apparently.
Twist your arm, Milwaukee. Yeah.
So we see this 11-day party that's just so much fun. It brings everyone to town. It's the world's largest. It's amazing. But this team of 40-something employees, what do you do the rest of the year?
You know, we just kick back, listen to music.
Right.
Yeah.
Chill.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, truly. I mean, it is. You know, I laugh. People are like, "Oh, do you take off right now?" And it's like, nope. Like, we are hot and heavy planning for 2020. We're out there. Entertainment has more offers out to acts than I can even count. We're working on budgets for 2020. We're having full organization meetings for what we're going to put where on the grounds next year. I mean, we're full speed ahead.
So can you think of one employee's responsibility that we might not think of? Like, oh, that's the person in charge of having beer backstage or something. Like, someone's got a very specific task that is very Summerfesty. Can you think of anything like that in your organization?
I'll tell you, there's not a specific person that has a role like that, but you would be surprised who you would find in a golf cart running whatever Miller beer to whatever artist that wants it right now. So, I mean, we all chip in, we all jump in.
That sounds like you've done it.
Yeah, yes, maybe. Yes. Yeah. You know, and that's the great thing about it. And I think what, speaks to having that small business spirit is you're willing to, pull up your bootstraps, roll up your sleeves, and get in there and do what needs to be done.
So it's a giant festival. It takes an entire year or more to plan, because the entertainment people are working more than a year in advance sometimes, right?
Absolutely.
They're planning tours, maybe 2 Summerfests out.
Yep.
So with all of these different mouths to feed, with planning and trying to bring the festival together, when the leaders get together, how does Summerfest evaluate success? Like, what are you paying attention to know if you did a good job in this year's festival?
Sure. So many things. There's not one big overarching thing. I will say, Summerfest, when it started in 1968, just to go in the Wayback Machine for a minute, the mayor, Henry Meyer, took a trip over to Germany and went to Oktoberfest and was like, this is an amazing party, and this would be great for me to bring back to Milwaukee to really bring the community together. So with that in mind, that's how Summerfest started. And it's something that, even to this day, we really strive for. I mean, we don't have a specific type of, genre of music. We really, I mean, this is a marketer's nightmare, right? Like, our demo is humans age 8 to 80. Like,
Sure.
how do you target that? But we'll get into that later. But, you know, so truly, I think maybe this is a little hippy-dippy for me to say, right? But, like, the fact that we can still bring a music festival to the city of Milwaukee that brings the community together. I mean, you can walk those 75 acres and see somebody from every neighborhood, from all the suburbs, probably from Chicago as well, you know.
We don't like to point them out, though.
Right. But, you know, really, I mean, that's success to me. So you can look at it that way. Also, you know, giving back to the community. Over 100,000 guests who visited Summerfest this year took advantage of our admission promotions, many of which give back to the community. So whether you're bringing in a canned good or some food for Hunger Task Force or donating a book for a child to read, and there's so many ways that we give back to the community that way. And maybe a little sexier is the entertainment. So, quick little story this year. Talk about success. Has anyone in the audience not heard of Billie Eilish at this point? No? So I'll tell you, when we announced that she was coming to the amphitheater, the response on social was hilarious. It was, and it kind of goes with any big announce that we do for an act, like the act that you are like, this is gonna make me go to Summerfest, I love it, is the same exact act that I would be like, I'm not going there ever again because I hate that band, you know? So, but she was a perfect example of, a lot of people were like, who is this? We don't know. She had the fastest selling ticket ever.
For real?
For real.
More than McCartney?
More than McCartney, more than the Rolling Stones.
Come on.
No joke.
Wow.
Her pre-sales, and she had 3 pre-sales leading up to the on-sale, I mean, we've never seen anything like it. It was magical. So that is, you know, that's another one. I say there's lots of little ways that we measure success, and that's one of them.
How many new friends did you have when Billie Eilish got announced? Hey,
a
Sarah!
lot of new friends, yes.
We went to 4th grade together, remember me?
Yeah. How does this work? Do you get free tickets? You know?
Well, you do, right?
No.
Okay.
Not amphitheater, no.
All right, so
If you
take
need
us...
any general admission, you hit me up, feel free.
That was an offer. That was an offer right there.
Don't forget me.
Noted on tape, by the way.
If you're in the room, Facebook friends.
So, the festival ends. How do you start the planning process? Like, what are you doing? Are you doing deep dive conversations? Are you looking at the numbers first? How do you start thinking about next year?
Yep, so the festival ends, and I will tell you, the first thing I do is sleep.
For
about
a while.
14 hours at least, maybe a little bit longer, because those weeks are intense. I mean, truly, like, you wouldn't think as a, you know, a full-time employee you're working this much, but we're talking over 11 days. I'm in there for 220 hours. No exaggeration.
Crazy.
Yeah, so we sleep. Then we get back to the office and we're hitting the numbers. We're looking at recaps. I'm looking at, you know, our advertising and how all of that went. We're pulling numbers for all of our sponsors. Sponsors are such a huge part of what we do at Summerfest and allow us to keep the admission costs down for guests and really keep things affordable. So, you know, that's a big part of what we do. And then, like this year, for example, Summerfest was over, the construction crews right back out at the amphitheater, back to work. You know, in marketing, we're thinking, okay, how are we going to tell this story about the amphitheater over the next year as it gets built? Entertainment's getting the offers out there to acts for 2020, so we're right back at it.
So literally mid-August, you're already churning? Like, it's a full go in mid-August?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. You know, we get to sneak away every now and then for vacations, but I went away for 4 days. It was like the best 4 days, you know, like kind of recharge your battery a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we're in it.
So those are some big picture things, but everyone has their own pet things that they kind of keep an eye on. Are there certain reports that you're watching or certain little nuggets that you're listening for? Like, I could see if I were doing your job, you know, on the last day of the festival, I walk this area to feel it. Like, how do you, and this might not be a technical report, but how do you know in your heart that you're carrying the torch and it's working the way that it should?
I think you kind of said it. So I moved to the Milwaukee area when I was 10 years old, and I've been going to Summerfest since I was 12, and I have not missed a year since then. Even when I lived across the country, I would fly home and come to Summerfest. My thing that I do every night after I do my job in the amphitheater is walk the grounds, and I do laps. And to experience the vibe and the energy at the different stages, depending on what act is there that night, and just really see what's going on. I mean, that to me is a big measure of, you know, how well we're doing, and what people are excited about.
But it's interesting now, thinking of small business owners, we may feel that something's working, but the data is saying something different. How good is your heart against what the numbers turn out to be? You know what I mean? Like, wow, this year was great. Then you pull the numbers like, no, it wasn't. It was terrible.
Sure. Well, gosh, I'm trying to think if I have a good example for that. You know, yeah, I mean, your heart isn't always on point, right? It doesn't necessarily always speak the truth.
Sure.
But that is where I lean on partners such as yourself, or just talking to people who came to Summerfest and getting their feedback and hearing their experience. Because I will say, the way I view it, especially now that I work there, is very different than the average fest goer. So it's great to kind of, I love sitting down and talking to people about their experiences and how they saw it going.
Let's talk nitty-gritty planning for a minute. Maybe a vision or a process or an exercise that your team runs. Can you share anything that either you do with your team or the bigger team does that we might be able to steal, like something that you do behind the scenes?
You know, nothing earth-shattering, I will tell you this, but it's we have a really great team. We're lucky. A lot of us are friends, and we enjoy spending time with each other anyway. So we sit around, maybe have a little bit of a bitch session, you know. We talk about the good, the bad, everything in between, and we really just brainstorm. Yeah. So I know it's not earth-shattering, it's not like a super sexy answer, but as we talk and we go through everything, it's amazing what ideas can be born from that.
One of the things that's interesting about you being on the panel, we have two CEOs who are going to be on later, but your marketing and advertising, you run it. Can we talk about marketing for a minute, like actual marketing stuff? So you're using all the tricks in the bag, right? Because you have an audience from 8 until 80. Can you talk a little bit about your marketing mix and how you make decisions? Yeah,
absolutely. So it's interesting, right? Because it's so great when you can be like, my target audience is adults 25 to 54, and that's who I need to reach. But we have a very wide audience, and so really it's looking at what message we're putting out there, and that's how I kind of fine-tune it. So we do business group sales. We invite business owners to buy tickets at a discounted rate for their employees, or maybe you have a corporate party there, or such like that. How I market to those folks is very different than how I choose to market the campaign for Jason Aldean, say.
Right.
So it's really looking at the message that we're looking to get out there, who we need to reach, and dialing it in as much as possible. And certainly there's all the wonderful things that you can do with digital marketing nowadays and targeting that way. But I mean, you can think back to old school stuff too, right? Like it's being in business papers, or you know what? If you would have told me 10 years ago in my career that I'd be a super huge fan of out of home and outdoor and old school, grassrootsy, fun marketing tactics, I would have probably chuckled, knowing what was booming in the digital world. But that kind of stuff works in certain instances as well. So it's really just long-winded answer, right? But it's really just finding that audience, knowing what message you want to get out there,
right,
knowing who is going to benefit most from hearing it, and figuring out how to reach those people.
Something I've been doing a lot of research on is this medium called radio, and how amazing radio is when it comes to promoting Summerfest.
It is. Yes, it is.
Yes, it
Thank
is.
you, radio partners.
There you go.
There's a few of you in the audience.
You might understand that joke. Look it up. I'm kidding.
Oh, but truly, you're right.
It
though.
is. Well,
it's true.
The partnerships and the non-paid promotion you get out of marketing when you're talking directly to their fans goes a long way.
Yes.
I had to throw that in. You knew I was going to say that.
You know what, though? I'm glad you did.
Okay.
Because, and this is, so when you and I spoke ahead of time, one of the things that you asked me is, what marketing tactic, used to work really, really great, but doesn't work at all anymore.
Right.
And I couldn't give you a straight answer for that because it really depends on the message that you're trying to get out there. Mm-hmm. Would I do a business group sales message on Instagram? Probably not. Would I do it on LinkedIn? Absolutely. Would I advertise Ozzy Osbourne on, the light rock radio station? No, I wouldn't. But it's going to do really, really well on an active rock station. So yeah, I mean, when I hear people say, oh, radio's dead, or, fill in the blank, this is dead. Maybe for your business, let's talk about it, but it really just depends what message you're trying to get out there. I don't think anything's, maybe Yellow Pages, but.
Yellow Pages might be kind of dead. I think we can agree on that. Can we agree on that, the Yellow Pages? Yeah. Don't
Maybe
buy
that
Yellow
one.
Pages. Yeah. It's called Google.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't talk to someone from Summerfest and not tell a few Summerfest stories. I mean, there's got to be, you got to have a Summerfest story or two, right? Can you give us something? Come on, give us something. You got something. Don't say you don't have something. I know you do.
I don't know if it's going to be as, amazing as anyone would want it to be, but I'll tell you what, one of the coolest parts about my job, I spend a lot of time in the office most of the year, but during those 11 days, one of my responsibilities each and every night is working with our house photographers and external media photographers and getting them in and out of the amphitheater, working with artist management, meeting with their security teams, knowing what we can do that night, what we can't do, being the stickler boss lady and getting people in, getting people out, and moving them on their way. That has provided me some really, really cool moments in my career there. I have had the opportunity twice now to be in the pit, in the amphitheater, with just myself and one photographer, because that's all I could get approved.
Yeah.
And sit and watch one of my absolute favorite artists, who my dad introduced me to as probably 5 years old. I remember hearing his voice, that recognizable voice of Willie Nelson.
Oh.
There he is, 10 feet away from me on the stage, you just feel like a little kid.
Yeah.
So we keep it professional. I mean, we're not back there. I've heard some amazing stories from back in the day, but nowadays we keep it professional. We're not backstage trying to meet people.
Yeah.
We have moments where we run into people, but it's really just those kind of special little moments that maybe it means something to you from growing up, or whatever, where you get to be really close to somebody, and that's cool.
That's neat. We only have a few minutes left. How do you sharpen your saw? What do you do to stay sharp and learn? How do you learn about being better at what you do?
Sure. My favorite thing truly is just talking to other people and finding out what they're doing and what they are finding that works or doesn't work for them, and just learning more about what's out there. I'm never going to pretend like I know it all, and things are changing so quickly.
Right.
And our whole team is like that. We're great that way. We're always, doing research and poking around and seeing what other music festivals are doing, or other local businesses are doing, or fun things that are going on in the community. So I think it's a great way to learn. Yeah, it's a great way to learn. Tell us about reading. You're a reader. Do you recommend any books by chance, or? So I love books. I don't get to sit down and read the way I would like to, but I am guilty of, I have the Audible app, and so I'm constantly listening to them in the car. The one I listened to most recently, which I thought was fun, not so much business related as just life, but Mel Robbins, The 5-Second Rule. Yeah. I may be a little late to the boat on this one, but holy cow, she's incredible. I want to hang out with that lady. She's pretty rad. That was a great book. I loved it. Yeah. So I would recommend it if you haven't heard it or read
So
it.
this group is about connecting you with others. Is there anyone in particular, types of businesses you want to connect more often with, or people individually you want to meet? Like, how can we help you? As if you need it, but how can we help you?
Oh, no, of course. Yeah, no. I want to hear, if you've been to Summerfest lately, I want to hear your stories. More importantly, maybe, if you haven't been to Summerfest in a number of years, I would love to hear your stories and find out why. It's those little individual nuggets that really help us in all that we do,
Yeah.
so.
Well, I have a list of bands for you to book for next year.
Perfect,
So
thank you.
I'll definitely connect with that. And you also heard from Sara, and in all seriousness, we connected before, and she's open to connect with you on LinkedIn or get to know you better. So please take advantage of her generosity, because the work that your team does is unbelievable. And carrying that torch for the city is a special honor, and you and your team do a great job.
We're very proud of it, thank you.
So, Sara McGuire, Marketing Director, Summerfest, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Great job. Thank you.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap